Have you ever walked into a room and, within seconds, known exactly who held the real power? And more importantly, who didn't? It's not about the clothes they wear or the car they drive. It's something else. Something in their posture, in their eyes, in the way they string a sentence together. It's a silent signal they can't seem to stop broadcasting, a signal that screams, "I am not in control here." And 500 years ago, a man named Niccolò Machiavelli, in his brutal, game-changing book The Prince, laid out the blueprint for power. But what most people miss is that he also gave us the perfect blueprint for spotting weakness. Because to understand how to gain power, you first have to understand how to lose it. So I have to ask you, are you ready to see the 5 subtle, almost invisible habits that expose weakness in you and in everyone around you instantly? Habits that Machiavelli knew could destroy a leader, a reputation, a life. If you're ready for that uncomfortable, powerful truth, then let's begin. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. We all want to be seen as strong, capable, and in control. It's a primal need. But in our desperate attempt to look strong, we often fall into traps that make us look incredibly weak. Machiavelli wasn't just writing for Renaissance princes. He was writing for anyone who wants to navigate the complex, often brutal, social jungles of life. He understood that power isn't just about what you do. It's about what you stop doing. It's about the subtle cues you send out into the world every single day. Most of us are leaking power and projecting weakness without even realizing it. We're sabotaging our own authority, our own respect, our own potential. And today, that stops. We're going to dissect 5 specific, common habits. We're going to see why they scream weakness to the Machiavellian mind, and most crucially, we're going to talk about what to do instead. This isn't about manipulation. This is about awareness. This is about taking control of the message you are constantly sending to the world. So, let's pull back the curtain. Habit number 1, the compulsion to over-explain. This is one of the most common ways people leak power, and you've definitely done it. I've done it. We all have. You're asked a simple question by your boss. Why did you choose this supplier? Or by a friend. Can you make it to dinner on Friday? And what do? You don't just give the answer. You launch into a full-blown, 5-minute documentary. You give the backstory, the context, the alternatives you considered, the weather report from that Tuesday. You justify, you rationalize, you provide a mountain of unnecessary detail. On the surface, you think you're being thorough. You think you're being helpful. But deep down, what's the real motivation? It's a need for validation. It's a fear of being misunderstood, judged, or criticized. You are preemptively defending yourself against an attack that hasn't even happened. You are silently begging the other person. Please, see my logic. Please, agree with me. Please, don't think I'm incompetent. And what does Machiavelli say about this? He writes, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Let that sink in. The strong, decisive person acts. They give the necessary information, and they move on. The person who is weak in their conviction talks, and talks, and talks. They need a chorus of agreement to feel secure in their own decisions. When you over-explain, you are not building a case for yourself. You are building a case against yourself. You are telling the world, I am not confident in my own judgment. I need your approval to feel okay about this. The antidote: embrace the power of the concise answer. Learn the power of, because I determined it was the best course of action. Or a simple, no, I can't make it, but thank you for the invitation. Full stop. No drama. No justification. Your decisions, when you are in your rightful authority, do not require a jury. Stop acting like they do. Own your choices with a quiet, unshakable certainty. That is power. Habit number 2, the apology in your posture. I want you to picture 2 people walking into a meeting. The first one walks in, head up, shoulders back. They make eye contact. They take a seat and settle in, occupying their chair fully. They don't rush. The second one slips in, almost sideways. Their eyes are down. Maybe they give a weak, fleeting smile. They sit on the edge of their chair, as if they're ready to be ejected at any moment. They fold their arms. They cross their legs tightly. They make themselves small. You feel the difference, don't you? You can sense it in your gut. That second person's body is screaming an apology. I'm sorry for taking up space. I'm sorry for being here. I'm not sure I belong. Machiavelli understood that perception is reality. He knew that a prince must not only be powerful, but he must also appear powerful. He wrote about the importance of grandeur and spirit. He knew that your physical presence is the very first billboard advertising your internal state. When you constrict your body, you are broadcasting subservience. You are telling everyone, visually, that you are lower in the hierarchy. You are a subordinate. You are prey, and people will treat you as such. It's not conscious cruelty. It's primal, animal instinct stuff. We are wired to follow those who look like leaders, and leaders, by definition, do not apologize for their existence. Think about the animal kingdom. What animal makes itself look bigger when threatened? The ones at the top of the food chain. They puff up. They stand tall. The weak and the hunted? They cower. They shrink. They try to become invisible. So what's the antidote? It's not about becoming an arrogant, chest-pounding jerk. It's about simply occupying your space without apology. Uncross your arms. Let your hands be visible. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. Sit back in your chair. When you walk, walk with purpose, as if you have a destination. Slow down your movements. Rushed, fidgety movements signal anxiety. Calm, deliberate movements signal control. Your body is the instrument of your will. Stop playing a tune of weakness on it. Start projecting the grandeur and spirit that Machiavelli knew was non-negotiable for anyone who wishes to be taken seriously. Habit number 3, the language of self-doubt. Listen to the way people speak, especially when they're in a situation where they feel a little insecure. Listen for the qualifiers. The weak, hesitant, permission-seeking language that they sprinkle throughout their speech, like verbal landmines that blow up their own credibility. I'm talking about phrases like, "Sorry to bother you, but," "I'm no expert, but," "This might be a stupid question," "I could be wrong, but," "I just thought that maybe." Do you hear it? Do you hear the sound of someone preemptively surrendering? Let's break down just 2 of these. The word just. I just wanted to check in. I'm just thinking that. This tiny word minimizes everything that follows. It turns a statement into a suggestion, a question into an apology. It says, "Don't worry, what I'm about to say isn't that important. You can ignore it." And then there's the king of all weak language, sorry. Not the sorry when you bump into someone. I'm talking about the sorry used as a conversational lubricant, a preamble to asking a question or stating an opinion. "Sorry, can I ask something?" You are apologizing for your curiosity. You are apologizing for participating. You are literally saying, "I regret my existence in this moment." Machiavelli's entire philosophy was built on the concept of virtue, a combination of force, skill, and decisive action. There is no room for self-deprecation in virtue. A prince who says, "I'm not a great strategist, but here's a war plan," would be laughed out of the court, if not beheaded. When you use this language, you are not being humble. You are being insecure. You are giving people a reason to discount you before you've even made your point. You are handing them the knife and pointing to your own throat. The antidote is brutal, simple, and incredibly powerful. Remove the qualifiers. Instead of, "I'm no expert, but I think we should change the marketing strategy," you say, "Here's a recommended change to the marketing strategy." Instead of, "Sorry to bother you, do you have a minute?" you say, "Got a minute? I need your input on something." Instead of, "I just feel like," you say, "My perspective is." Speak with conviction. Own your statements. If you're wrong, you'll be wrong with your head held high, and you'll learn from it. But never, ever introduce your own ideas with an apology or a disclaimer. Your voice deserves to be heard. Start acting like it. Habit number 4, the inability to manage your inner state. Here's a truth that might be hard to hear. The world is a chaotic, unpredictable, and often offensive place. People will disrespect you. Plans will fall apart. You will be criticized unfairly, to your face and behind your back. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can react or you can respond. The person who is weak, who is ruled by a fragile ego, they react. Their face flushes with anger at the slightest provocation. Their bottom lip quivers when they receive feedback. They become visibly flustered and panicked when a problem arises. They wear every single emotion on their sleeve for the world to see. They are an open book, and the chapter is always a drama. Why is this such a profound sign of weakness? Because it shows you are easily read, easily manipulated, and easily knocked off balance. You are handing over the remote control to your inner peace to every random person, and unpredictable event. Machiavelli was obsessed with this idea. He warned constantly against being variable, light, and effeminate, which in his time meant being flighty, impulsive, and ruled by fleeting passions. He praised the leader who could remain steadfast, consistent, and unflinching. He wrote that it is far better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But you cannot be feared, or even respected, if you are a puppet whose strings are pulled by every passing comet. A leader who flies into a rage shows they have no discipline. A leader who crumbles under criticism shows they have no core. Your emotional reactions are a strategic tool. When you remain calm in the face of chaos, you send a powerful, unspoken message. I am above this. This does not control me. I see the bigger picture. This isn't about being a cold, unfeeling robot. It's about choosing your battles and mastering your expressions. It's the difference between feeling angry and acting angry. You can feel the storm inside, but on the outside, you are the eye of the hurricane, calm, still, and in control. The antidote: practice the pause. Before you react, take a breath. Just one. In that tiny space, you reclaim your power. You choose to respond from a place of strategy, not from a place of raw, unfiltered emotion. You stop being a reactive animal and start being a calculating human. You become unpredictable and therefore unmanipulatable. That is a position of immense strength. Habit number 5, the external locus of control. Listen to the way people talk about their lives. Listen for the story they are telling. The weak person, the one who feels powerless, their story is always the same. It's a story of things happening to them. They are the perpetual victim of circumstance. Their language is littered with phrases like, "My boss is holding me back. The economy ruined my plans. My parents messed me up. I never get any lucky breaks. If only I had X, then I could Y." This is what psychologists call an external locus of control. They believe that the steering wheel of their life is outside of their vehicle. They are just a passenger, being driven by fate, by other people, by bad luck. And to Machiavelli, this mindset was the ultimate heresy against power. Machiavelli's entire world, The Prince, is a manual for seizing control. It is a brutal, uncompromising argument for agency, for the idea that a leader, a person of true virtue, shapes his own fortune. He famously wrote that fortune is like a raging river. It can flood and destroy everything in its path. But the prudent man, the strong man, builds dikes and dams to control its flow. He doesn't stand on the riverbank and complain about the weather. He gets to work shaping the landscape to his will. When you blame external forces for your position, you are announcing to the world that you are powerless. You are admitting that you lack the resourcefulness, the creativity, and the sheer will to change your circumstances. You are waiting for permission, for a rescue, for a miracle. The strong, on the other hand, have an internal locus of control. They may face the exact same obstacles, but their story is different. They ask, what is within my power to do right now? What resources do I have? How can I navigate this? What can I learn? They see themselves as the active force in their own lives. They are the cause, not the effect. The antidote is a fundamental shift in your internal narrative. It's about catching yourself every single time you want to blame, complain, or justify an action, and instead asking one simple, powerful question: what's my move? What is the very next, tiny step I can take to improve my situation? It doesn't have to be a grand gesture, just a move, a step, an action. By taking that action, no matter how small, you are grabbing the steering wheel. You are telling yourself and the world that you are the architect of your life, not a tenant complaining about the plumbing. Conclusion: the path to sovereignty. So there they are, the 5 habits that expose weakness instantly. 1. The compulsion to over-explain, revealing a deep need for external validation. 2. The apology in your posture, broadcasting subservience through your physical form. 3. The language of self-doubt, eroding your own credibility with your words. 4. The inability to manage your inner state, showing you are easily manipulated and knocked off balance. 5. The external locus of control, proclaiming yourself a victim of circumstance rather than the master of your fate. Machiavelli knew these not as psychological terms, but as the fatal flaws that doomed leaders to obscurity and ruin. He understood that true power isn't about dominating others. It's first and foremost about mastering yourself. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you don't need to explain yourself. The grounded presence that comes from occupying your space without apology. The unwavering voice that speaks with conviction. The emotional fortress that cannot be easily stormed. And the profound self-belief that you are the one holding the pen that writes the story of your life. This is the path to sovereignty, not over a kingdom, but over yourself. And that is the only kingdom that truly matters. The question is, which of these habits will you conquer first? The power to change it is, and has always been, in your hands.